Danny was a kid who was always obsessed with irony. At age 10, his teacher gave him an example of irony, and it was because of this example that Danny never confused irony with coincidences. She gave him an example of a student driver who had just won some sort of national award for driving and the safety of driving, and who had just died in a car accident. That is ironic. A few years ago, I wrote an introduction to this POI, but I've long since forgotten it. I can't seem to find how I wrote it down anywhere, so I do remember the gist of the introduction. It had something to do with the fact that words affect all of our lives. And that's what this program is all about. Word Nerds. Featuring the selections Disco Death by George Newman, Shut Up You Fucking Baby by David Cross, and Jackie Roger Jr.'s $100,000 Jackpot Wad by Christopher Guest. A program on the importance of words. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for America's favorite game show. Now, last week, your champion, Rajiv Vinderloo, a private investigator from Reseda, California, won over $10,000 in cash and prizes. This week, his challenger is Mindy Williamson, a school teacher from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They'll be battling it out today on Jackie Roger Jr.'s $100,000 Jackpot Wad. And now, here's your man of the half hour, Jackie Rogers Jr. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. In the words of the immortal Sally Field, you like me. You really like me. Now, I'd like to introduce my celebrity guests. Now, to my right we have Mr. Sammy Davis Jr., Mr. Entertainment himself. Sammy, talk about excitement. Now, it's day 2. Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the audience?
I'll tell you what, babe. To make money for all these cats you don't know, that is excitement.
Well put, sir, well put. And to my left, we have Mr. Captain Kangaroo, Bob Keesham. Captain, would you like to say anything? Yes, Jackie. I'd like to say hello to all the boys and girls out there. Hello, boys and girls. And a special thank you to you, Jackie, for paying me in cash. That was the deal, right? No checks. Remember? Yes, 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 of course, of course. Okay, so let's begin. Irony just made sense to Danny. His favorite, and the absolute best example of irony that he could possibly remember was when his friend left the cover to his ecology book in the middle of the street. He littered by throwing away a book called How to Clean Up Mother Earth. That's irony. One of my pet peeves is when people misuse the word literally. And when you fuck that up, you fuck it up so bad. I mean, you use that in the exact opposite sense from which it was intended. You know, it's not like you said penultimate, you meant ultimate. Hey, you're off by 1. No, when you fuck that up, you should never be allowed to use that word again. The sportscasters do this all the time. You hear them say things like, oh my, he literally ripped his head off on that play. You're going, what? No, he didn't. I mean, you should not be allowed to talk into a microphone and describe things to people. Okay, now you all know the rules. It's a lot like pyramid, except different. So, Captain, you're going first. Would you like to give, or would you like to receive? Jackie, I'd like to give. Okay, all right, your category is things you find at a circus. Things you find at the circus. And begin. Okay, this is a funny little guy. He wears big red shoes and a big red nose. A clown! Right, okay. All right, these are people who swing above the crowd from a bar. A monkey! No, they're people, all right? They swing above the crowd. They have like a little net that catches them sometimes. I don't know what it is. Go on to the next one. All right, this is the guy who comes out. He introduces the acts. He wears a big red coat. A clown! No, he introduces the acts. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, big tall hat, microphone. I don't know what it is. All right, go on to the next one. All right, it's the king of the jungle. A guy opens up his mouth and sticks his head inside. I don't know what it is. It's a lion, you moron. It's a lion. It's a lion. Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry, that's a disqualification. Oh, this is great. This is just great. How am I supposed to pay my rent now? Danny also had a special aversion to mirrors. He hated them. At times, he felt like he might even be a vampire. He couldn't stand to see the side of himself in a mirror. By the time he reached high school, he became a pro at being able to shave himself without looking. He never popped his zits. And in a way, he felt like maybe this was ironic. Weird how the person he spent the most amount of time around, himself, and he had no clue what he looked like. That too was ironic. And people who misuse that word, people will say things like, oh dude, man, you missed it. Like last week, we were hanging out over at Jeremy's, you know, and we split this bar of Xanax, and I'm like, totally fucked up, And like, you know, he grabs that Viking helmet, you know, the one he won in Vegas, and he starts like dancing around and everything, and laughing so hard, I literally shit my pants. Ew. What'd you do? Oh man, I was laughing, you know? Yeah, no, but you know, what'd you do about your pants? What? He said you were laughing so hard that you literally shit your pants. Yeah, I know, man. It was fucking funny. Yeah, I know, but what did you do about your shitty pants? Oh, no, dude, I didn't really shit my pants. I literally shit my pants. Man, you need to understand what that word means. Girls liked Danny, especially by the time he became a senior. He had many offers to his senior prom, but he decided to go with Sloane Petersley. She was this smoking hot girl who had a brilliant smile. All the guys loved her. They went to prom together, and the two made a beautiful team. Everyone took notice to how great the two danced. Okay, now, Sammy, it is your turn. Would you like to give, or would you like to receive?
Tell you what, man, I'm gonna go ahead and give as well.
Okay, all right, your category is horn aplenty. Describe these foods, if you will. Describe these foods, and begin.
All right, babe. This is something you go to the movies and you heat it up with oil and butter.
Popcorn.
Right, okay. All right, this is a hot, spicy little number.
Rita Morena.
No, babe. This is something you put in a barrel with its brothers and let it sit until it becomes something else.
A caterpillar.
Let's just move on. All right, babe. This is kind of an after-dinner thing. It's got 3 layers, icing on top.
Djibouti.
No, babe. Now, listen to me now. You're flying around in heaven. You got the wings, the halo, the whole thing. You're
dead.
Yeah, man, but you did a lot of really good things on Earth. You're
blessed.
Yeah. Just move on. Okay, this one is
chocolate babies?
Yeah, right. Okay, this is one of my people's favorite things, babe. It's kind of a round little number.
Dress shields.
No, man, no, babe. I prefer mine with lox and onion, and I do prefer a slice of tomato.
Oh, yes?
All right, listen to me now, okay? You sail along in a boat, not in the ocean, but
a lake.
No, not inland, a little bit further out.
A sandbar.
No, kind of an inlet kind of thing.
A bay.
Right, bay.
Yes?
Okay, listen to me now. You're sailing along in the boat, you look up on the shore, you see a bunch of little birds walking along on the shore. Those birds are called sea
birds.
Yeah, man, they are birds, but they're a bunch of little white birds. They're called
whitey birds.
All right, just move on to the next one. All right. This is the ultimate hunk of piece of meat, man. It ain't a Delmonico, it ain't a shell, but it's a
Egg McMuffin.
No. No, look, man, this is the thing with the little piece of bacon that comes strapped to the top.
Beef tuna.
No. This is the ultimate hunk of piece of meat, man.
Mel Gibson.
No. This is the thing that when it sits on your plate, you say, how the heck does this cost that much?
Filet mignon.
Right.
At precisely 11:54, the disco ball, which hung above the dance floor, fell. It landed right on top of Danny, killing him almost instantly. The crowd went berserk. The girls would not stop screaming. All except for Sloane. She sat by Danny's side. And as he faded, she swears she saw him smile. Now, a few years later, Sloane was brushing her hair in front of a mirror, and it suddenly occurred to her that Danny hated mirrors. And the disco ball which had killed him was made up of many small mirrors. And she began to laugh at the fact that a guy who was so completely obsessed with irony did not die an ironic death. And that, in and of itself, was ironic.